Hey, you've done it. Once again, you've slipped up and found us on your radio dial, your internet radio dial. It's
The No Class Podcast.
with your internet friends, Eddie.
And Matt.
So, how's it been, Matt?
It's been fantastic.
I know you are chomping at the bit to tell everyone about Long Con Spring.
I am. I love it. I'm excited. Can't wait for it.
What were those dates again?
The 24th, 25th, and 26th of April 2020 is the new location on your calendar
Oh,
for
wow.
Long Con Spring.
On your internet calendar.
That's right, on your internet calendar. That's right.
Dial it in on your hand,
right.
write it into your internet calendar.
Get out your phone and write it on your textery box.
Just one little bit of news. The Long Con Spring is already ahead of Red River RPG Con.
Oh yeah, which
We've broken that record,
not a terribly hard record to break, but yeah.
but we do appreciate it. Thank you guys. Keep it coming.
Yeah, thank you. That's the other day. If you paid attention to us or these podcasts, we talk about our energy, our enthusiasm waxes and wanes, and it's generally the good thing about our partnership that probably is that we'll prop the other one up, and then the other one will falter, and the other one comes along and goes, "Come on, guy," and whatever. So but no, I mean, I'm excited. I'm at a good baseline. I'm not like over the moon, but I'm not down in the dumps either. I mean, like I said, we've already outsold Red River. So
Yeah. And this is about the cons that you guys want.
yeah,
If you guys want a Long Con Spring,
vote with your feet.
we'll do it. If you want a Long Con November, we'll do it. If you ever decide you don't want it, you're voting with your dollars. If it's not wanted, we won't do it. But so far, it's being well received. We
Yeah.
appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. And I mean, if anybody doesn't know, what differentiates April from November right now is we're going to have, still as always, our focus is RPG games, but also we're going to have board games. And we've got some interesting ideas we're cooking up for, like this last year in November, we had a GM courtesy room, which was well received, and we want more people to be aware of that. We might have something in mind just for players as well
For the next
for the next con.
Long Con November.
Yeah.
Well, you almost got me a really good transition there.
Yeah.
Because I did want to talk about a certain board game today. But
Oh.
first, one more thing on the Long Con. We're getting ready to do our little swag, and one of the things we want to put in there is some Long Con dice.
People love dice.
But we need about a 10-week lead on the dice. So it's pretty much going to be, if you get your badge within January, you will get a die.
For
If
sure.
you do not, you're taking your chances, because we're only going to order a certain number. We don't want to get stuck with just a metric ton of these dice.
Not to say that we don't have faith that there'll be another spring, but
Well, you never know, and besides the next year, there might be bigger, better swag.
absolutely no, definitely. That's the case. If people buy a lot of tickets at the end, which happened before with the previous Long Con, the Long Con Red, if you will, we can't buy swag if we get money at the end. We don't have time to have it done. So anyway, but you were saying board games. I know that you've got quite a selection of board games. You've been running some at Geek World, demoing them, and just kind of kicking the tires.
Yeah, I talked to our good friends at Geek World last year, and I said, how can I help out my friendly local game store the most? Because Matt and I had been running a lot of RPG games up there. Well, it seems like that and a lot of other people's efforts up there, like Shane, have got the RPG machine humming pretty well. So what wasn't humming yet was the board games. So they said, if you do some board game demos, that would really help us out. So out of these board game demos, one of the games that I find that is the best received and one that I would recommend to people the most is Castle Panic by Fireside Games.
Now the cover looks cool. I'm definitely as far as when you go out to the bookstore and you pick up a book and there's that one cover that just grabs you. I really like the cover of this. This looks like, just already I'm like, ooh, that looks cool. Defend the castle, survive the panic, become the master slayer.
Now, No one has paid us for these endorsements, but I will say I'll go ahead and shill some more for Geek World and say,
but you're more
Mark,
than welcome. You know.
yeah, we will take payments. Mark Franzen was the one that turned me on to that. He was like, it would be really great at your con that would be well received by RPG players, Castle Panic, because you got the castle theme. And he's right. That is a great game.
And I think that might be the word that's really grabbing me right now.
Well, yeah, he's pointing to cooperative. This is a cooperative game. And I can tell you, in my household, I'm not playing a game with my wife that's not co-op. It's not worth my marriage.
It's not worth you sleeping on the couch that night.
So that makes it a good family game for us.
Yeah.
It's not one of these cutthroat type of games. So that's one thing that I like, is that it is co-op when you want to get everybody out together and have a good time. And the other thing is, you can play it with 1 to 6 players. You can play it by yourself if you wanted to, and it's still a fun game.
Which is cool.
So, what is the premise of the game? You have a castle. You and your friends have a castle. You've built it up. And now these nasty monsters are coming out of the woods to tear it down. So as long as you have any of your castle pieces remaining at the end, as these monsters are coming to take it down, if you have one castle piece standing at the end, you win. The team wins. So it's a simple concept. But you get into these different cards that you play that are how you actually damage the monsters and affect things in the game. You trade them out with the deck, you trade them out with each other, and it's simple to learn, but there is another layer of complexity to it. Simple to learn, but there's more layers to it. It's something you can replay, and replay has a lot of replay value.
That's cool.
It's very easy to take out of the box and play, because how many times have we done that, where you open it up and you're like, crap, I should have watched the 2-hour YouTube video, or I should have read this really long 50-page game guidebook.
I know, like, you're a good friend, and for Christmas or birthday, you got me Lords of Waterdeep, which is highly acclaimed. But one day we're sitting here and said, hey, let's play. And we opened the box and looked down and went, nope, just put the lid right back on it. I mean, there's so many pieces. And
yeah, there was no way we were going to pick up and play that. This is one that you can pick up and play today.
Which is great. So you're hitting a lot of the right beats, because I like something you can play right out of the box. I like that you play it cooperatively for the people that really don't like more competitive games. I like that something like Catan, where it's really easy to pick up the basic dynamic of the game, but there's layers of complexity to where you can easy to learn, but you don't necessarily just there's that mastery of it that gives it replayability. Yeah, no, it sounds like a great game. I'm intrigued now. Hell, I want to play it.
We were talking about Dragon's Lair, which we'll talk about some more in a minute.
Yeah.
But we were going to go to Dragon's Lair the other day, and that's the game that I was going to take. When I had our good friends over here, TJ and Leela, that's the one that we played, that I think out of several games that we played, that's the one that they liked the most, because it does have that. It's easy to learn, and it has more to master. It's not so straightforward. It does come with a lot of expansions. So there's like My First Castle Panic, if you want to play it with the kids. Or there's a lot of add-ons like the Wizard's Tower, if it's not complex enough for you, or if you've already mastered the basic game, you think.
Yeah, neat. That speaks well for them, that they're able to sell these other products. Apparently people like the game.
And I don't know if I've told you before, off air, but they have Dead Panic as well, which is a zombie version.
Ooh la la.
And in that one, it's still cooperative. You're trying to protect your fortification from the zombies coming in. You're all the survivors, but you can get bit by a zombie and change sides.
Oh, wow.
So I'm really looking forward to trying that one soon.
That sounds fun. Yeah.
But and I've been running this one up at Geek World a lot. It's been very well received because, like I said, simple to learn, but a lot to actually learn and be able to play. Keeps the fun going.
I know you and I think we rode together and met up there or whatever one day, and you were running a game, and good Lord, you had a good 20 players. It almost seemed like 15, 20 players of one of these games. So it's good to see that there are people that want to play these games.
Yeah.
I'm tickled. I love games. I love gaming, and I'm tickled to see people that are embracing gaming. I love that.
Since this is the first review, we don't really have a review scale yet. So I was actually looking into that a little bit. I think for this, we'll see how it goes. Go with a 1 to 5 scale.
Okay.
With a 5 being drop what you're doing and get it immediately. A 5 is, yeah, you need to have it. A 3 is like, yeah, you should play it. If you like it, pick it up. I'd give this one at least a 4 or 4.5. It's really that good.
Okay.
So I can't say enough good things about that. Fireside Games, and it's at Geek World right now if you want it.
Cool. Yeah.
So throw your friendly local game shop some business,
Yeah.
which that'll come up again down the line too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, big transition time.
Bum, bum, bum.
I think we were talking about this earlier regarding the Long Con Red Prime November.
Mm-hmm. OG.
Yeah, and speaking of OG RV for Robert Vegeta,
Yeah.
I was really impressed that one of his players, Stephanie, got onto the Facebook and was really raving about his Pugmire game.
Sure.
Why? Because that was somebody a year ago that was 5th edition Adventures League only.
Yeah.
So that Robert can open somebody's eyes like that, kudos to you, good sir.
Yeah. I was that post warmed my cockles because I was definitely like, wow, because I know that she was adamant, like that's the only, I just want vanilla ice cream 24/7. That's it. And for her to get her eyes open that, yeah, if you go try other game systems and other game masters and it's like, oh look, role playing, intrigue, subplot, stories. As a mature gamer, beating monsters and taking their stuff and advancing your character is all good and fine. But that's just like eating fast food. But when you get a rich role-playing experience on top of that, man, that's solid gold, baby.
Yeah.
And Robert is an amazing game master, and very versatile.
Yeah, we have had a ton of compliments on his games.
Oh,
so.
sure. And what's wild is it's like I think he's like a Renaissance man.
Oh, yeah.
Every con, it's 5 new games. It's like, come on, guy, you did great with those other 5 last time. But he's like, nope, these are new challenges, new experiences. I am a great game master. I can work in whatever medium,
Right.
Yeah, clay,
But
pastels.
I think that's true. If you're a good game master, storyteller, whatever the generic term you want to use is, if you're good at it, getting that story across, you can use any system.
Exactly. And that's where the people, they're like, oh, God, I couldn't try some other system. I've said this 100 times. I'll say it one more time, in that as a player, it's very simplistic. Even some systems are better than others, whatever. We don't get into all that. But ultimately, the work is on the game master. He has to know the system and not the specifics. You as a player, just, if I tell you, okay, you're this class, you're this race, you have these couple abilities, it comes your turn, I explain the situation, you tell me what you want to do, and I tell you, all right, pick up that dice and roll it, and we'll see if that happened. It's that easy for a player in most any of these games. So definitely try new things. Step outside your comfort zone. You might find you like,
right,
something new or different. Try it. Yeah. So that's great. So bravo to Stephanie for trying something different and being open-minded enough to admit, that she enjoyed it. Yeah.
Because you could be one of those people that's just like, I liked it, but I won't admit that I liked it.
Exactly. And that's those people that I just,
But yeah, that's a success story. That's why we do the cons in my mind.
That's the kind of thing,
that's the stories we want to hear.
Right on.
I want to hear that you had a great weekend, even if we had nothing to do with it.
Sure. Well, we facilitated.
Well, you know what I mean.
We're enablers.
Like if we never, you didn't run any games for me and you didn't bring me some sodas, but you facilitated the place and I had a great time. That's what I want to hear. Or I learned a great new game. I found a great new game master. I found some great new players.
Yeah. That's
Warms your cockles.
Absolutely. And you hope that people go home and go, you know what? I might get that game. I might run it. Or I might try to find someone here locally who's running it, whatever.
Oh, that kind of leads us back to now that we've bragged on Robert, let's brag on ourselves and our games that we're playing. I know people love our updates.
Really?
We're playing it. Well, they
suck it.
They haven't got online and said they hate it. So
please give us some feedback. Yeah.
We can do this in a vacuum. It's fine.
Yeah. I love the sound of my own voice. But
we're nothing if not humble.
Exactly. So right now at my house on our, every other week we play. Right now we're playing Fallout.
And what's the address?
No. Anyway, we're playing Fallout, and Cesar De La Rosa is running our games. Cesar, great guy, great game master, great player, great all-around guy.
That's also the Midnight Sheriff. If you hear us talking about that at the Long Con.
About our Midnight Sheriff, someone that we trust enough with our baby to guard it at night when we're sleeping, old men,
Yeah.
That's our guy. Caesar's the one we trust to to babysit. But anyway, so Caesar's running Fallout for us, but he's using Savage Worlds, and this is something that I think he pretty much cobbled together himself. So I'm really that much more impressed that, because at some point someone's looking through a book, Savage Worlds, looking for the stats on a given item. He's like, "Oh, I'll have to give you the stats because I made them up for a Ripper or whatever." But so it's really fun for us guys who've played Fallout. We've really enjoyed it because we've got that level of familiarity or something and love for Fallout, the games.
Well, I think this is one of the times when our characters are really coming alive for a change, too.
Yeah.
Because I have often said we're not really role-playing. We're just tactical roll-die playing.
Yeah. So I've enjoyed that this table's had a lot of role-playing.
Oh, yeah.
But for people that like...
Sarge is a great character.
Well, thank you. Joe Trace is...
He's a madman.
I like the way you play. I can tell when you're into your character and you're having fun, and you are, and it's good to see that. You know, we don't get to play at the same table a lot of times.
Yeah, that definitely adds a layer right there.
There's a certain novelty, and so it's fun. And it's just one of those things off the cuff. I just came up with this character, and with a little bit of massaging, I think he's where I think I want him so far, and I'm glad to see some role playing come out of it.
Well, these were supposed to be 1 or 2 shot
like
throwaway characters.
Yeah. But now we're into them.
They just started naturally developing so much, and that's with our good friends James and Ron and Bradley and who am I missing? Cody,
absolutely. God, I feel like Caesar's running. Me and you. Ron, James, Bradley. Gary was part of this campaign originally, Gary Hopkins.
Yeah.
I wish he would come out and play because we're having a ton of fun.
I miss that guy. Or he could come out to the other game.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let me not stray off of this just yet.
Yeah.
Not paid promotion again, but Savage World is something that we have been looking at for a while and going, we really should try this out. It had a huge popularity in Tyler for a while.
Absolutely. I know Brack is a big advocate, and he loves their riffs. He ought to come out because I think Roberson's going to be at...
Oh, yeah, Long Con Spring.
And he could meet the guy who wrote the Savage World riffs.
Supposedly there's going to be...
You could meet him.
A Torg versus Savage Riffs... what am I trying to say? Charity game.
Like a competitive charity game. Right?
Which will be our buddy John Watson and John Roberson.
Yeah.
And they'll be running those, and they'll both be in the Savage World system.
Oh, neat.
But, we're kind of just discovering the Savage Worlds now. And the one thing I'll say is probably not Savage Riffs, but just Savage World, the base game.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really simple. Much easier than I expected.
Yeah, well, I think it's, once again, kind of like what we're with this game over here originally is Savage Worlds is not hard to learn. It's that sweet spot where there's a little bit of crunch, but it's not too crunchy.
And it's really flexible.
It's not too simplistic, and it's highly flexible. And I like how someone said, don't disparage it by calling it a generic game. It's a universal game.
Right.
But I could see if I had to have just one game system to run fantasy, sci-fi, post-apoc, zombie apocalypse, I could see where even more than these other so-called universal games, I could easily cobble together some tack-on rules and take off running with Savage World. It really is a great game system. I mean, and it's like Eddie said, we bought the books about a year ago.
Not me, but
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, no, you're right. I did.
We did.
Because there's a new version.
Yeah. We bought the SOP. We bought I think the...
Was it Adventurers and now it's Ultimate, or was it Ultimate and now it's Adventurer?
Now it's Adventurer Edition, but the previous edition was...
Should I start you lying?
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, needless to say, we both bought that softbound because we were kind of interested.
Didn't touch it.
It just, I'd pick it up and I put it down. I'd pick it up, put it down. So I knew I was interested. And this is what's crazy. I bought a bunch of bonus softbound books that were complimentary rules for it. And still yet we hadn't played it. But maybe somewhere in the back of my mind, like I knew, it was a kismet or something. I don't know. Like I knew we were going to play it at some point. Because I went off of the internet.
Well,
and from our good friends at Geek World, I bought some of the bonus content, like plugins, you might call it. Like, here's the base rules. Here's the plug-in for science fiction. Here's the post-apocalypse plug-in or whatever.
I think people of our status in the gaming industry
I almost kept a straight face on that.
We have to play these things. We have to at least sample them a little.
Well, I love, and that's one of the things I'll tell people where I guess it's like, I got to stop because I'm bad.
Stop. Oh, yeah, you definitely do.
Yeah.
I think if this is going, you definitely need to.
So I always, it's funny. First of all, I don't want to be a hypocrite. And I hate when people try to project their thought process onto other people. Other people are other people, and they're not always going to do or like what you like. But having said that, that's why I'm always feel bad for people that won't go to a con or don't want to try to play a different game. But people are people anyway. But me personally, I love going to con because here's this smorgasbord.
It's the buffet.
A buffet of where I can play all these different games with all these new game masters and all these new players. And I love meeting new players and meeting new game masters and learning cool techniques. And I will steal something. I steal with both hands. Like, oh, that's a brilliant technique that player did or that GM did. That works. That's brilliant. I'm taking it. Add it to my repertoire. And on the other hand, playing new games, I find something that, man, I really like this game, or that game's a stinker. Or maybe it was just that GM,
Right.
But I will say this, the great thing is that even when I've played, some of the worst games I ever played have made some of the best stories that you'll tell over and over again. So that's where you find that silver lining. You turn that loss into a win. Our very first NTRPG, we played in some amazing games and some poo-poo games, but we have great stories about the poo-poo games that just make us slap our leg and laugh all over again. But anyway, enough about that.
Man, Savage Worlds.
Yeah, Savage Worlds.
It's going great. Enjoying it.
Yeah.
Keeping it simple. Mm-hmm. Caesar's doing a great job.
Phenomenal job. And everybody as players are really getting into the role of their characters, which I think good GM and good playing, when you get that
synergy.
Yeah, man, that's when it's good.
And part of that too is, like you said, everybody's excited.
Yeah.
You can see Caesar is excited to run the Fallout.
And that's infectious.
And you can see that we're excited to play it.
And he's feeding off that.
Exactly.
Yeah. We've talked about that before as a game master. When your players are really enjoying what you're putting
He's
out
got
there,
the burning fire and we've got the fuel sort of thing.
Yeah, that's a great analogy, bro. You're a freaking poet. You know that?
Thank you.
And you didn't even know it.
I prefer the warrior poet title.
Okay, we'll go with that.
So,
yeah.
Do you want to talk about the other game?
Well, not really, but we will.
So, our buddy Cody, Longview Computer Center, check it out for all your computer needs. And yes, we are being paid for that one.
Absolutely.
Paid in gumdrops.
That's right. Teardrops.
Paid in local recommendations.
That's right.
For small businesses all around us.
He's running Dungeon in a Box.
So, good job, Cody.
Yeah.
Thank you for stepping up and running.
Thank you.
Proud of you.
Doing a great job.
But Dungeon in a Box, I don't know on that yet. I'm trying to look at it in the business sense, kind of objectively. If you were doing a Dungeon in a Box, kind of what would you do? What would you expect? Those sort of things.
Sure. I know that, like I said, Cody is doing a great job with the material. The first adventure.
Longview Computer Center?
Yeah. That guy, from Longview Computer. And also, they sell ink. Did you know they sell ink?
Yeah, and he's our official technology guy, if you want to say that.
Absolutely.
He does our website stuff. He gives me a foot massage when I'm printing out stuff here.
Absolutely, because you used his Ooh La La ink.
I sure do. Cartridge World.
Cartridge World. Not Cartridge Land or World.
We're getting $10 every time we mention this, folks. So.
I hope so. That'd be
ching,
awesome.
Ching, ching,
Yeah, but it's all in Longview Computer Center books.
Store credit.
Yeah, printed on, but on high quality paper and ink. But no, the first adventure was a little railroady, and I know, knowing you as well as I do, you really do not. No one probably loves that, but you particularly have a disfavor for railroady games, and just typical old school guys that want to role play. A lot of times, characters will go off on a tangent, like, screw this caravan. We want to wander off in the woods, go looking for the goblins or the bandits. With an inexperienced novice GM, we knew if we did that to Cody, we might be pleasantly surprised and see him rise to the occasion. But you might see him go into complete shutdown panic mode because he's used to using the scripted, canned content of this adventure.
Which I don't know if Dungeon in a Box has provided anything for that either.
Probably not.
Which, I don't know. Who is the customer base for Dungeon in a Box?
Probably, maybe. Think about
new
it.
Players?
New players and new game masters.
Okay.
Novice game masters.
So if they're novices, I think there should be some hand-holding.
Oh, yeah.
If I was doing my Dungeon in a Box, that's one of the things that I think I would do.
Yeah. So they might have had scripted out in a, what do you call at the edge of the page there?
Yeah. Margins.
Margins, thing like if the player should take off on a tangent, here's some things to steer them back. And or here's some little random encounters that were so awesome that they're going to be like, maybe we're not meant to go, or have the old wise man say, You get off the path here. There's trolls and dragons and death lords, or you're like, oh, okay, never mind. But just give the players an impetus to want to stay with the caravan or not to wander too far. I don't know, but I mean, basically, we stayed with the caravan. We had a job to do, and don't get me wrong, I had fun.
We're having a lot of
Cody
laughs.
did a great job, and we're having a lot of fun. But I think hopefully, if he runs this long enough, maybe he'll blossom into the game master that can handle when the players go off on a tangent or something. Or else they'll give things in the adventure for that. But that comes down to, as a kid, one of the great things about writing your own adventure was when you wrote it yourself, you probably on the back of your mind had some ideas, and then also if the players wander off. And I guess it's kind of like, is it one of these, do you think it's a case of like you're either a good improvisational GM or you're not? Or is it like, well, no, you might be lucky to be born that way, but you could learn to be a good improvisational GM?
I think you can learn to be at least good enough at
Adequate.
it. Or that you can fake it. Like I know if I have to come up with a name on the fly,
you're screwed.
Yeah, it's going to suck.
But
that's why I keep a list of names.
Keep a list so you know what your shortcomings are. And
exactly.
You've got a crutch there.
And that's all you got to do. Is even if you can't improv, have your little sheet of fake improv or whatever you want to say. Like, if X happens, I'm going to do Y.
Yeah. I've got some little quickie bullet chart things that I can roll on if I ever had to. If I'm drawing a blank, that I could fill in like, all right, guys, give me 5 minutes, go take a break, get a smoke, or whatever, use the bathroom. Rolling those charts real quick, and just those bullet points. I've got that ability. Luckily, that maybe I need that nudge, but once I got the nudge, I can blow into that ember and burst up into a good fire and go, all right, I've got a full formed subplot now, based off that little nugget. All right, and let's go, because I don't know, it's my mind's not as spry or whatever, but as a kid, I'd like to think I was a really good improvisational GM, but anymore, I'm probably adequate. But I'm going off on a tangent. Brendan LaSalle.
That's why the people come here, to hear the tangents.
Yeah, he did a game for us.
Which I'm going to steal the crap out of that.
Oh, yeah, I loved it. It was brilliant. And what's cool is it's like he sits down with the players, and I think he has just some very loose ideas.
Which I think he's got a lot more frame, and you think he has a lot less of a frame. Yeah. But that's just gee whiz.
But the thing about it is he's still got to be a pretty darn good improvisational GM because we have to feed him content.
Yeah.
And he strings these ideas together into a cogent plot and in the moment. I mean, he never stepped away from the table and he's rolling with it,
So I want to try and do that. I want to run a game like that.
I thought
soon.
That was cool.
And yeah, I'm going to steal that idea. It might be a different set of railroad tracks
format,
but you're building the train.
Yeah.
So
And I thought just that really impressed me, and it was really different, and I liked it. It was something new. It kind of shocked me out of my, what comfort zone or whatever you want to call it. But I was like, wow, that was really neat. I really got a kick. Everyone at that table had a blast. I think the one guy was a novice player, and he was just eating it up and knowing that this is something different, guy. Us old grognards were like, wow, this is, yeah. But it's kind of goes back to when I was a kid running D&D. I won't lie. For the most part, I didn't have anything on paper.
You just made it up?
I just made shit as I went along. That's probably why I was better at it.
You're going to get arrested by the D&D police.
Yeah, I'd hope so. But I mean,
you're not supposed to make up stuff in role-playing games.
Because Alvin and Gary would kind of whinge that I didn't have more stuff written down on paper. But I like just freestyling. The whole game session might be just freestyle.
Well, trying to write a module, for example, man, that's freaking difficult. But just coming up with stuff freeform is pretty easy for me. It's when you actually have to try and put pen to the paper. But what about you? We're talking about us. This is all about us, baby.
Well, this comes back to, like I said, if I have a charts with little bullet point nuggets, well, the same principle, and I thought we've talked about this, but we'll cover the same ground again.
Why not?
The first time I write an adventure, it's literally just going to be quick bullet points. It's almost like speech writing. When I had speech class, people were like, I hate speech. I loved it because I'd write some bullet points on an index card, and I'm that person that's standing at the podium. I glance down at the bullet point to remind me what my next topic is, but then I expound upon it, and it turns into this whole paragraph from that one little bullet sentence. Well, my role playing, when I have that first idea for an adventure, it'll be a bunch of bullet points, and I'll run it a few times, and running it, I'll make notes afterwards quickly while it's still fresh in my mind, and I'll flesh out that adventure from all the, and I get feedback from the players at the table like, oh, that's a cool idea. Or you hear a player go, man, what if there's an owlbear around the corner? Oh shit, there is now. You know what I mean? And then this sort of stuff, fleshes out the adventure. Anyway, and that's my process. Ta-da,
Right. So,
yeah,
we've been having a really good time with 5th edition there.
Absolutely.
Dungeon in the Box.
Yeah.
I would like to do a review of that sometime in the future.
Yeah.
See how this goes, and maybe when we've got some more behind us, I can go, hey, Cody, can we borrow that book? Or can I look at the box too and see what you're actually getting? How much did it cost?
Yeah.
Are you getting a value for your money?
I'm curious if what we just played was all that was in that box,
I think so.
Because there was an adventure, and it was actually like random encounters. He got a good looking miniature with it of one of the NPCs, and I like the map that comes with it. I like that map.
It's not for me to not like something, because I'm Mr. I like everything.
Mr. Positive.
So if you get a 4.5 review from me, man, you did excellent.
Yeah, you better pat yourself on but don't break your hand.
But I'm not sure about Dungeon in a Box yet. Value for the, and like I said, I don't have enough information at this time where I can go, it's great or it's horrible.
Yeah.
But that's something that I really want to look into, because, okay, for $30.
So is that how much it is?
I think so, $30 a month.
See, I was thinking about 20. I was thinking, see, in my head, I thought, well, that's about $20 worth of material.
Well,
I wouldn't pay $30.
We'll look it up, folks, and maybe we'll put a little comment on this. But I was reading their information. It's kind of like, you'll get 2 Reaper minis. Reapers are high quality,
miniatures.
But they're not the most expensive thing to get a hold of.
No, especially now. This is their metal ones. Those are more expensive than their bones, but still, that's the hallmark. Reapers always had good looking miniatures at very reasonable prices.
And I think those may or may not be related to the adventure.
I know the little gnome that was.
But I think you get another one that's just random, or somewhat random.
Well, I mean, it'd be nice if it was one of those bandit guys we fought or something.
Yeah, it would be nice. Yeah. So, okay, on that, and then you get the adventure, which I don't think was all that big.
No,
and you do get a beautiful map.
One of those. What do you call this size? The smaller size that I don't like.
Pamphlet. I want to say it's like A10 or something like that.
Yeah, like for a while there, they were trying that out at
digest size. What it would be for DCC and MCC.
Like digest size, but I don't like digest size companies. Okay, I think most people don't. I noticed that DCCs went back to the full 8x11 size.
Oh, which hey, stumbled across another plug here for all you people with your older eyes that want to play your first edition. Mm-hmm. Check out the Osric book. If nothing else, it's a little bigger and it's a little better typeset. Yeah. So
font, if you will, I guess, but
easier for older eyes. Yeah. And for a reference, they did a great job organizing it. But
we played some old school recently, and Osric was good for that. So
try and wrap up this 5th edition one. We had a great time playing that with our friends Bradley. Again, he does the theme music for this thing. His wife Carrie, she was back in town, so played some 1st edition with her, and then got her in at the club there too to play with us. Me and you and Sean, and run by Cody, Longview Computer Center.
Yeah,
of course.
Well, what's the other company again?
Cartridge World.
I think that's it. Yeah, Cartridge World.
Fine inks at a fine price.
The finest. Ooh la la. Enchanté. All right. What's next, Mr. Eddie?
I think we're going to talk about the topic of the show now.
There you go.
We're only 30 minutes in.
Whoa.
So, for those of you that don't know, our friendly local game shop in Shreveport is closing.
Yeah. Dragon's Lair has been a
fixture?
Yeah, more than a fixture. I mean, but just, I mean,
the hotspot, the go-to place.
Game places have come and went. They've popped up and just like mushrooms after a rainstorm. At one point, like 3 other ones popped up, and we were worried about Dragon's Lair, but nope, Dragon's Lair weathered it. Those 3 went away in short order, but I guess it finally happened. Enough other game stores popped up, and were able to steal enough of Dragon's Lair's customer base or whatever that the sad day has come. Dragon's Lair is not the Dragon's Lair it was before.
So let's go in our way back machine and remember Dragon's Lair. So how long has Dragon's Lair been around?
All right, so I was there when the old Tom's Triple Play closed. I helped pack up their stuff and move it,
Move it.
And so after that, there was a really big guy, I can't think of his name, and a heavy-set fellow that used to be like a Caddo Parish police officer. Wife's a doctor or something. Anyway, he decided to open a game store there in Bossier, and it was Dragon's Lair. All right. Mm-hmm. So he had...
Oh, let me add this one in for those of you that don't know. Yeah. Dragon's Lair is an independent store. It's not affiliated with one in... I think there's one in Austin and maybe
Might be.
Houston,
Yeah, like a
and it's
chain or
probably
something.
one of the most common names for
Probably
a
for
game shop,
game
and it's a
shop.
chain. But this is an independent store.
Yeah.
Please continue.
So anyway, I can't remember that guy's name. It's killing me. But anyway, he and I actually had it out on the internet one time. I don't know. So, um, so it's been a friend of mine since even before then. We played together in the Living Greyhawk campaign back in like 2004, 5, 6, 7.
And so is the current owner of
Yeah,
Dragon's
so
Lair.
it was the current owner. So yeah. So then I guess time marched on. That guy sold it, and then I think this couple, he's an I think officer in the military.
Mm-hmm.
They bought the place, and they had it for the longest time. Well, so started working for them there, and so was there all the time. A great employee and just a super nice guy.
So make a rough guess of when that is. 2008, 2010, probably 2000, 2005.
2000.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
2000?
No, this would have been when that couple took the place over. Would have been around. Jeez, man, this is killing me.
2006.
That sounds good. Yeah, 2006, maybe
Okay.
7 or something, I guess.
Don't hold
I
us
don't
to
know.
it, folks.
No, not, or it might have been 2008. I don't know. So
Yeah.
anyway, we're going off. But so this couple had it, but so was there a lot. Well, eventually they gave So the option to buy it from them because he was being, you were in the military. What do you call it? Go back home, whatever.
Oh, were they getting out or are they just getting restationed? I
Getting
thought
out,
they
restation,
PCS'd.
something.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So needless to say, they gave So the option to purchase it, which he did. And it was still there in Bossier for a while. It was around that time was when
Real close to my house in
really-
Bossier.
yeah, like 5 minutes from Eddie's house. So what's kind of ironic was I was in between gaming groups or something, but I'd been doing a lot of dating and hair pulling and craziness or whatever, so I really wasn't worried at that time. But I was at work at a job that was a real throwaway job. It was hilarious.
Is this the story of our first date?
It is. So anyway, I got on a computer
How Harry met Sally.
and it's just a weird. It's like those things when you ask yourself in retrospect, like, what prompted me to do that? Because I swear it was just this like lightning, couple neurons
It was
bounced
God.
together, and I said,
God put you on the
but you have
path.
to wonder, because I said, you know what? I just sat down at the computer on a lark and just on a goof Googled like role playing groups in Shreveport, Bossier. Go click enter, and it popped up. What's the
North Louisiana Role Playing Alliance.
on this thing I never heard of called Meetup?
Uh-huh.
And so I thought, huh. So I put my name in, I made an account or whatever, and said I'm interested. And apparently, how long was this after you put that thing up?
About 10 minutes.
Isn't that just you're pulling my leg though, right?
It wasn't 10 minutes, but I mean, a couple of days at
Days.
best.
So isn't that ironic? Anyway, and so that's how we met up, and we're gaming over at Dragon's Lair in Bossier, and my good buddy was working there. I don't think he'd bought it quite yet.
No.
But anyway, and that's how we met. And it's funny was there was this cadre of gamers that kind of came and went, and some of them were great folks and great gamers, and some, God bless them. But anyway, that's how we met. Yeah. But it's via Meetup and Dragon's Lair, and we play a lot of games there. And I ran a 1.5 year long campaign in 4th edition D&D, The Scales of War, which is the railroadiest of, adventures.
4th edition.
4th edition, which they're the most maligned by version of D&D. But it just goes to show you, say what you will, that campaign lasted a 1.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
We had fun, and we had some good gaming.
So tell me about the first time you met So.
It was actually, started to say LG, but no. I met So way back in the Magic the Gathering days.
Really?
Yeah, I had was living in Bossier and went up to Tom's Triple Play, and Tom Moore owned Tom's Triple Play, God rest his soul. And I had told him, I said, man, Magic's the thing. And he goes, it's some fly-by-night game. It's junk. It'll be gone tomorrow. I said, dude, at your other location over in Shreveport, dude, every Saturday it'll be wall-to-wall, elbow-to-elbow kids buying Magic packs by the handful. The kid over there that was running it's making money hand over fist. So Tom goes, well, maybe I'll try it out. Well, next thing you know, he's doing D&D. He's doing Magic tournaments. And I remember me and So playing across from each other, playing, and it was pleasantly competitive. And So was he was witty, he was clever, he was a good player, shrewd player, and very nice, very amicable. And I remember always I didn't know him then, but I remember thinking I like this guy. But we never really connected as friends then. But that's our first interaction was playing Magic, and he was just anyway, great guy. And so when LG came along, I was like, oh, I remember this guy from Magic. And he came in kind of late in the LG thing, Living Grout. And we played a number of times. And then that's when more of a friendship started to form. When you game together and you're like, look out, guy. And, oh, man, you saved my hash. Thanks. I mean.
Forged in the fields of fire.
Yeah, exactly. That band of brothers, in imaginary land.
So, how I met So was I went into Dragon's Lair kind of on a whim. This is the story of kind of how I got back into D&D.
He said, get out.
Where I had some coworkers that there was an episode of Community where they played D&D. So those guys are like, I want to try out D&D. Do you know anybody that knows anything about that? And I was like, well, let me blow off these dusty tomes. And yeah, I used to play some back in the day. So I saw that group. They enjoyed it, but I could tell that this was going to be a passing fancy for them. Whereas it had reignited my fire, and I was like, dang, now I'm going to have to find a group again.
Yeah.
So I went in, and So is probably the most friendly local game store owner I've ever met.
Yeah.
So he's just really, you can't say enough good things about him in that way. I came in and I said, is anybody playing 2nd edition? And this was in the 4th edition days.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I think there's one group that may play 1st edition at home that he knew of. But that was it. Yeah. So then I was like, I'm going to create this group. Would you mind if I put out some cards and stuff like that? And he's like, nah, knock yourself out. And that's eventually how I met your mother. How I met your Matt.
But anyway, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, and it's funny, like people that came and went, like Rob, now Claire, whatnot. Great gamer, But, I mean, we enjoyed gaming. Wade, he and I are still Facebook friends. I like
Who?
Wade. Wade.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, how you doing, bud?
Hey, bud. Drop a line. But anyway, so, I mean, it's just funny that I'd never known, I'd give Wade rides to the game. He's a really nice guy. And so we met some people that we're still in contact with. Some maybe not so much, but anyway, yeah. Like Brandon. What is his name?
Oh, yeah.
Brandon. He and I are still Facebook friends every so often. I'll drop him a message. We're super nice
He's
guy.
an anesthesiologist now or whatever, right?
Anesthesiologist.
That's
Say
easy
that
for me to
3
say.
times. Yeah. But no, super nice guy, he moved off, you know how that goes. But anyway.
I hate to say one of my fond memories of Dragon's Lair will be when they were in Bossier right next to Chin's Kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can remember that. How many meals did we have together at Dragon's Lair with the food from Chin's Kitchen right next door, or
Little Seizures.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I laughed about. I bet those guys cried when the game store closed because those big healthy gamers, you're either running to one side to get Chinese food or running next door to Little Caesars. Their profits dropped. I don't doubt it when the game store moved out. Because I mean, I love that when we could just waddle over to one or the other, and because I love those little their crazy bread with the cheese, the jalapeno cheese on it. Oh yeah. I can feel my heart skipping a beat just thinking about it.
But for those of you that are, I guess, keeping score at home, this was the first game club that I started. I started that one, and that's how we met. Yeah. And boy, that took off like a rock. Not a rocket, a rock.
Oh, my.
But for a short period of time, I was like the mayor of gaming in Shreveport, Bossier, and I had the Rolodex.
I remember Alvin even came out one time for one of your meet and greet gaming things or whatever.
Yeah, it'd be like, so-and-so can't play anymore. So-and-so dropped. Who are we going to plug in? Don't worry. I've been grooming someone.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun. And that was all out of Dragon's Lair.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so eventually it moved to Shreveport,
Well, one of the things about playing at Dragon's Lair was a lot of times we could get So to play with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or even run stuff for us.
Ooh la la. Yeah, he ran us on... by Green Ronin, the Song of Ice and Fire role-playing game.
That was so good.
I had fun with that. I really did. I liked it.
When we have our episode about So, the So Memorial episode, we can talk about that and all the games half done.
Yeah, because that's the same shame of it is we had a lot of
We
fun
were always
with
left
it.
wanting more.
Yeah, you're always left wanting more because that was fun. In fact,
We had a great Star Wars game.
yeah. When you've asked me about, like, hey, where'd you get the thing where you tell the player, tell me how you killed the guy? I got that from So running A Song of Ice and Fire when I went to kill a guy and he's like, tell me how you kill him. And I was like, oh, hell yeah.
The weird thing about that was when he dropped his pants.
Exactly. Never broke eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway.
But if it wasn't for Dragon's Lair, I've said this to So's face, we wouldn't have the Nameless of Longview Game Club.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have the Long Con, which seems to be doing pretty good right now.
Yeah.
We definitely wouldn't have this dumb podcast.
Absolutely. See, so you can blame So. It sounds like you need to find someone whip his ass.
It's one of those, if you could get in a time machine and take somebody out, if you hate us, that might be the way to go.
That'd be the guy, yeah. If you're like, I kind of don't like Matt or Eddie, but God, when they're together, it's the worst. It's like our chocolate and peanut butter, you can kind of blame So. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we've always had a great time with him.
Yeah.
Great
So
time
it's just
at
great.
Dragon's Lair.
Yeah. No, where first place I paid 5th edition at? Dragon's Lair. First game I ran in 5th edition? Dragon's Lair.
But don't forget this. We were talking about 4th edition.
Mm-hmm.
Then we did Pathfinder Society for a little bit, which
That's
I know
true.
you love. You're trying to revive that all the time.
He's
You're like,
being-
let's get back into that
he's being
Pathfinder.
Extremely sarcastic. See, I have to bite my tongue because I don't want to alienate any of y'all, but I'm not terribly fond of 3rd edition D&D, and Pathfinder is the bastard child of 3.5 D&D. So, again, I'm not crazy about it. That's all I want to say.
I feel like that's one of the things that we
Change
can
my
kick the
mind.
most and not aggravate or annoy people or get too much outrage.
Yeah. But I don't know. There's times when I get kind of fed up with 5th edition, and I go, damn, maybe I would want to play some Pathfinder. I don't know.
No, you don't.
No,
I don't believe
really.
that.
That's
You've
just-
got Savage Worlds now.
I know. And ooh la la. Savage Worlds.
But I remember us doing the Pathfinder Society, and that was another thing that we started up there and said, hey, do you mind if we start doing this? And he's like, nope.
But, talking about being who we are, should have known something was up. Was at one point we said, hey, let's just do one whole day of gaming.
Oh,
So
right.
we did that Sunday. It was a games day of 3 games of Pathfinder.
And who opened up for us?
Yeah, So did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Opened up the shop for us on Sunday just so
Yeah.
our goofy butts could play.
And here's us like providing people a chance to play 3 games in one day. Yep, if we only known, there was the groundwork for our gaming event orchestrating or whatever.
Well, I don't think you know because we weren't bound at the hip then.
Oh, I
This is
know.
before we'd gotten married.
Ugh. Nastiest honeymoon ever.
But yeah, I had actually talked to So about doing a con up there in Dragon's Lair.
You son of
Yeah, and you have got none of the credit. You'd be in the dark now.
I'd get all the credit.
Nothing. You'd be Mr. Nobody.
I'd let him know. I'd go, he got that idea. He stole
it from me.
He stole it. Stole.
And as usual, So said, yeah, go ahead. I don't care.
Yeah.
You do what you want.
But without your good right arm, you just couldn't follow through.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what would have happened if we'd done that. If we'd done a con like 10 years ago in Shreveport.
And it'd been this
Right while the...
debacle.
Oh, yeah. Because 4th edition, nobody wanted that. It was right after everything burned down with Living Greyhawk.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been awesome timing.
And I remember that's the shame is even with 4th edition went out and they started talking about D&D Next, which grew up to end up being 5th. There are a lot of people that were like, bruh, I just bought all these damn books, you're changing again. It's like, but a lot of people were like, no, we're ready for a change. And 4th is so maligned. I'm not going to defend it, but I don't think it's as bad as people make out.
I don't know if it could be as bad as people make out.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to play it again, but really, right now, if you put a gun to my head and said, all right, there's been 5 iterations of D&D, and even technically more than 5, because there's basic and expert, you put a gun to my head and like, what do you want to play? I'd be like, I'll play 1st, 2nd, or 5th. It's like, I wouldn't want to play 3 or 4 again, either one. But
Well,
anyway.
for one of our world famous tangents,
This is one.
Yeah, which edition, and this might be one that we go to a full episode for, or just talk about more, which edition of D&D do you think gets the least amount of love right now?
Oh, I'd say 4th.
And I would say followed by 2nd.
Which is a shame because I'll tell you this is ironic. Driving around today, I was thinking about this of all things. I thought, really, I like 2nd edition towards the end. I know the option.
Really?
Well, and I'll say this why is because the option point system is probably kind of maligned and it did allow to a lot of power gaming and cheesebaggery.
But that's you.
Exactly.
You're a power bag cheese gamer.
But the thing about it I love is you could make the exact precise character you wanted to play. And they even put some rules in the second version of the second edition Dungeon Master where you could craft your own, sit down with the GM and haggle it out and create your own class. If you're like, there's something I want to do that's really not represented by these other classes. Like I thought about redoing the Marshal. Where like, I want to heal people, but I don't want to be a cleric. We'll make a Marshal. And using the point system and these optional rules they put in the DMG, you could craft the specific character. So you read something in a fantasy book that's not a typical D&D class. You want to recreate that. You could probably do a better job with something like Champions, but I don't want to go play Champions. It's too much crunch.
Wow. We just lost another sponsor, folks.
Yeah, sorry, because I know Champions, Hero System. But I'll just say with those rules in place, you could create, and that's where a good GM who's strong would go, no, you're just trying to make some power game thing. No, but I like that with that, you could make the exact character you wanted to play. There's something to be said for that.
Well, for me, I vote for the early second edition.
Which is fine.
Before power is an option and all that black cover heresy came out.
I hear you. But, I love first and second edition D&D. I could play those right now and have no problem.
Yeah. Well, first is first, so it's going to get love. Yeah. And I think that's why second is a little bit neglected at the moment.
Well, first is where I started, so I can't help but you don't forget your first time,
But everybody coming back that's playing fifth, that's never played first, they don't go, I'd really like to check out second edition.
Right.
Everybody wants to go back and play first.
Yeah, you look at Bradley.
You want to see where it started.
Yeah, he's heard us old dudes talking all starry-eyed, wistful about the good old days. And he's like, well, I want to check that out,
But my good old days are second edition.
That's where you cut your teeth, yeah. So, but honestly, there's this much difference between first and second. It's not like from second to third, it's like, what the hell is this? What happened to Thaco? And then even third to fourth is like, what the hell, So, fifth I like is, and let's face it, people like it because the game makes more sense in a lot of ways. And then also, but it's a little bit of a throwback to the early edition that there's some nudged role playing, And it's funny that it's like I've heard people on the internet going on about a game called Torchbearer. Ooh, Torchbearer. So I bought it and I was like, what's great about this is it's got some good ideas in it. But like a lot of these things in recent time were like the couple kooky gimmicks that like, ooh, 13th Age is really cool. I could take that gimmick and put it over in D&D 5th edition or DCC. It's a gimmick. It's not the whole game. Like Torchbearer, I like these couple gimmicks here. How about I just pick those gimmicks up and drop them right into DCC or 5th edition D&D? There you go. Because I love the gimmicks. Steal with both hands. A buddy of our, Cody, was like, what do you think about 13 Age? Said, it's got some cool ideas. Steal them and put them in 5th edition, which who knows? To anybody out there is like, I love 13 Age. I bet it's great. I haven't played it. If I see it at a con, I might try it. But, ultimately, I've looked at a few of the things that they do, and some of the stuff are just, let's be honest, they're gimmicks that you could easily pick up and pull over in a different game. Mm-hmm. If you like those gimmicks, that speaks to me. All right, steal it.
Well, as we're talking about editions a little bit here, I remember in 4th edition where they had those, not Minions? Expeditions, Bloodied? But it was one of those, you remember like the expeditions and stuff like that?
Well, they had the two different things at game stores. One was like the ongoing campaign, but the one was like those little, like one kind of combat or two that you could play, like guaranteed to be able to play it in an hour or two. So for people that didn't have much time or kind of short attention span or whatever, there were those, But do
you remember the ones that were supposed to be like super challenging?
Yeah.
Those were cool.
Yeah, no, Jen showed up for a couple of those and played. It was me, you, Jen, somebody.
That's where we really made some cracked out characters.
Oh yeah, well because you
were supposed to.
You reach out to me like, all right, apparently you need a badass character, and I know you know how to make a power monkey cheese bag character. I'm like, you bring the crackers, I'll bring the cheese. So yeah, I remember phone conversations where we're basically, talking.
Going, you cover this and I'll cover that.
Yeah, and so we would have synergy, and I'd help him with his build to really crack it out, and we would just run roughshod over these things.
I remember that artificer that this was an adventure on a ship or something like that. Yeah. So he had magic eye or something like that, so he could cast all of his magic missiles out of that, so he could be below decks and not have to worry about getting hit. And then he could do the most powerful magic missiles in the world. So that was a lot of fun, and I'll always appreciate those games that so ran for us there. Mm-hmm. I remember we had a good Call of Cthulhu game going up there. There was a time, folks, if you'll believe it, when Matt had stepped away from RPG games.
Call of Cthulhu. What were you, Tiny Jenkins or something?
Yeah, that was another great character, but a lot of these characters that you love so much are destined to have short lives just because the campaign died.
So is a great game master, but he has very, very little stamina as a game master.
Oh my. They might Viagra for game masters. I'm leaving that in.
I don't care. I stand by that.
You falling asleep over there?
Nope. Nope. I'm good.
Remember, there will be no uncomfortable silences in this podcast because of Matt.
Whatever. No, I mean, we would be here for 5 hours if I was to extol all the great games and great times that I had at the Dragon's Lair, Bossier, and Shreveport locations. So I ran some of my very first, if not the very first, DCC Road Crew games. I ran at Dragon's Lair in Shreveport.
That was really nice. We used to have two friendly local game stores that we could go to, and we had Geek World, and that's where we've just run a ton of games.
Oh yeah,
and Road Crew stuff.
Oh yeah, that's what we call ourselves, the Arklatex Road Crew, is because we covered Texas and Louisiana, and we intend to hopefully run some Arkansas, Texarkana games, so we could truly be the Arklatex Road Crew.
So we'll start wrapping this up. I'm sure people out there are clamoring for it, but we wanted to give you a little bit longer episode this time, and we had a lot to say to catch up for that last shorter episode.
We miss you. Aww.
We miss you, friends.
That's right.
So, thank you for everything that you've done for us.
Yeah, buddy.
You were a major player in the gaming community.
Absolutely.
As a GM and as a player, I've had a great time every time we've got together.
Right on.
And the most recent game that we played over there with Mr. Brendan LaSalle running for us.
Oh, that was awesome.
And so was playing, and so was kind enough to open up the store for us early again.
On a Monday.
So, I mean, you really can't beat it.
No, he's a good guy.
We're going to break into tears right here at the end. But
You gotta stop. Get choked up.
Here's what I'm going to say. Support your local friendly local gaming shop. If you want it to be there for you, you got to be there for it.
Yeah, when it's closed up and you go, crap, well, where are we going to do X, Y, Z? Well, hey, isn't that where we met Fred? You know, I mean, think how many people we met through game stores.
Yeah, everybody.
If it wasn't for game stores as that common place to meet and get to know each other, missed opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But your game store supports you. You support them. If they don't support you, screw them.
I might get a little cheaper off the internet. Well, spend a few dollars more and support the game store.
Amazon doesn't care where you play.
Yeah.
Amazon doesn't care if you have a place to meet people.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with shopping on Amazon. Everybody does it. But think about your friendly local game shop.
Yeah. If you walk through that door, find something. Buy some dice. Buy a miniature. Find something in the discount box. But buy something. You know, throw them a little money. Show them a little love.
Yeah. So that's your homework for today. Go to your friendly local game shop, Geek World, and pick something up.
Yeah.
Something expensive. Something really nice.
Exactly. And definitely give Mark a big hug.
And maybe get something for us.
Yeah, definitely.
We don't mind gifts from admirers.
Absolutely.
That's the one thing I'd say. We probably don't get enough gifts on a daily basis.
Yeah. Eddie likes thongs.
The last thing that I'll say on this subject is screw Games Workshop.
Yeah.
May you burn in the fire of 1,000 suns.
Exactly. Burn in hell, you bastards.
Because I think that was the final nail in the coffin.
Absolutely.
Games Workshop saw how well Dragon's Lair sold Warcraft.
Product.
Yeah,
They
Warhammer
opened a
products.
just down the street from him.
So they said, we're doing such great sales there, we should open our own store.
What better way to show somebody a big hearty thank you for selling your product for you is to undermine them and run them out of business.
Yeah, it'd be like if a Magic the Gathering shop opened in downtown Longview or something because they thought somebody was making great sales.
Yeah. Wow, we're selling a lot of Magic. How about we put our own shop and cut those guys out? Hey, thanks for promoting our product and building up a fan base here. That's really, really shitty.
Yeah, usually I'm the guy having to walk back Matt's comments, but I'm full throttle with this one. I am done with Games Workshop. I will not buy another Games Workshop product. Feel free to do the same.
Yeah, he sent back a couple of their video games.
Yeah,
It's very far removed that whatever profits or proceeds they would see, but just a man with principle, and I appreciate
exactly.
a man with principle. Stand by your damn principles. Vote with your feet and your dollars.
Exactly. So
You know,
hopefully that's one of those things that I'll show my morals here and screw them and screw everything about them.
right on. Absolutely.
And on that happy note, uh, one thing that we've been working on again is the long con dice. So we'll get to talk about that. We may put up some patterns for you to look at
Yeah.
and see what you like.
Oh, and as always, I meant to already mention this. We would love to hear from you either via our Facebook page we have, LongCon or whatever, or two, it's no class RPG podcast at gmail.com.
.org.mil.
Exactly. But if we would love to any suggestions, any topics, any comments, any complaints.
Tell us what you thought about Dragon's Lair.
Yeah.
Did you play games at Dragon's Lair?
Yeah, share your stories. I'd love to hear them. I love to hear stuff like
Do
that.
you support your friendly local game shop?
Yeah, tell us.
If so,
You know.
how, and if not, why not?
Yeah. What's some other things we can do to support local gameplay, local game stores? You know, things about LongCon that you liked, you didn't like. Reach out, talk to us. Give us some topics, some ideas. You might just get mentioned on air or not.
All right. With that, we're all out of hit points. See you next time, folks.
See ya.